In this video, I'm going to share with you how much I've earned from my online ventures.
And that's this much. And each of these is $50.
I'll share with you my dashboards, earning summaries, values, and how that's changed over time, as some of these income streams have been paying out for years.
I've got several sources of online income and I'm going to talk through them all. But before we do that, we need to establish two things, and then I need to introduce you to Terry.
First of all, I share this to give you information and encouragement to do this as well. It is not anything close to gloating or showing off.
Which brings me to the second thing. There are videos where people will show massive earnings. This, I'll be honest, is not that, but instead I'll be showing you what you could earn when you're just getting started. I don't think that everyone will learn big from the start.
95% of everything I've earned this year is from organic traffic. So aligned with what you might expect to be able to earn from humble beginnings.
Now, to help me explain earnings this year, I'd like to introduce you to Terry. Terry is every Brit's favourite chocolate.
Terry's ideally placed to help us explain the earnings this year, as it's a chocolate with segments in the shape of an orange. Each of these segments represents 5% of my total earnings this year.
And as we go through the income streams, we can visually see how much each contributes. And I get to chocolate at the same time. As I go through the income streams, the earnings will be going up as well. So at the beginning of the video will be the lowest earnings, and at the end of the video will be the highest earnings. Now, Terry does also have a minty brother. Terry's brother here does also represent earnings, but of a slightly different kind. But I'll talk about him toward the end of the video. Now, the first income stream is so low that I can't even take one of those slices. And this is my earnings from Prolific. So I'm just going to start off taking some of these crumbs.
I earned $5 this year. Almost not worth talking about, I know, but to be thorough,
I've not really tried on Prolific this year, but over the years that I've used it, I've earned around $250. It is quite a good platform to earn a little bit on the side with. It is a survey site, but it is a good one.
You can answer surveys on a computer, tablet, or best of all on a phone. And so when you're stuck somewhere, you can at least be a bit productive, earnings wise.
Once you've signed up, you'll get surveys pop up here, and some are quite interesting. I had one which asked me to play old school games for about 20 minutes and then asked me a few questions about it. The minimum you should be paid is £6 an hour or $8 an hour, but I found that a lot of surveys pay out more than this.
This is a snapshot of hourly rates for all the surveys that I've done, and you can see that there's a ton of surveys above the $8 an hour mark.
But let's move on to the next slice, which I'll cut in half. This half slice represents earnings from Shutterstock. I got around 100 downloads from Shutterstock this year, which you might think resulted in a reasonable earnings total for this year. However,
earnings have dropped a fair amount over the past couple of years, down to just $59 this year. The totals of the last 3 years looks like this.
AI images probably have something to contribute to the reduction in earnings over the past few years. But I also suspect it's due to the fact that I've been lacking in uploading images to the platform. I think that recent images get more favourable search rankings.
The rather dull and disappointing headline is that each download earned around 32 cents, down slightly on last year's 39 cents per download.
This next half slice represents something a little bit newer for me, and that's with Amazon Shopper Panel. And it's so easy to do that it'd be silly not to do it.
It earned me just under $70 this year, which is given to you as Amazon coupons linked directly to your Amazon account. It's all automatic.
And I don't see this as an issue, as a lot of people use Amazon, it's very accessible, and what you can get on there is pretty vast. It has a lot of utility.
All you need to do is scan 10 receipts from your shopping each month, and that's it.
You can also answer surveys on the platform, which will take about 10 seconds. And these will give you little bonuses that might add up to around $1. They come up like a few times a month.
And a new feature this year is ad verification, which is just something that you switch on and leave, and you'll get a couple of dollars extra a month.
This enables Amazon to use some of the information from panelists, so the users of the app, so us, to verify whether they've seen an advert. There is a privacy statement you can read if you've got concerns. Finally, I can take one of these whole segments to talk about Adobe Stock Photography, which represents 5% of my total earnings this year. Now these earnings are again through royalties, like with Shutterstock, but this time the story is a bit different.
In 2023, I got 238 downloads, so more than Shutterstock, from a very similar portfolio of images. This resulted in $179.71 for the year. That means on average, each download earns around 76 cents.
The totals over the last 3 years look like this.
Something far more encouraging than with Shutterstock.
I have small portfolios on both platforms, but from my limited experience, it does seem like Adobe is the stronger platform. Now for more chocolate. So about 25% of my earnings this year. And this one is the one I'm most happy with in terms of how it's performed this year. And it's with SKILLSHARE.
This is why. It shows the best growth potential of all the income streams I've been working on this year. Less than $100 a couple of years ago, $340 last year, and nearly $1,000 this year. SKILLSHARE gives a reasonable breakdown on the instructor dashboard, and plotting earnings over the last year shows some stability month by month.
And it's not as though it just came in 1 month. Instead, it was spread across the whole year.
September was particularly good and was helped with affiliate marketing, which can only have been driven through these videos on YouTube. Sharing this link on SKILLSHARE and having people sign up allows you to earn a commission of 60% of the first membership payment. Commission was earned in 2 months and contributed $114 to earnings this year. So over 3% of total earnings this year. Just over half a segment.
SKILLSHARE works on a royalty per minute of your class viewed basis. So a student will watch your class for 1 minute and you get paid for that 1 minute, and then you get paid for every other minute that they watch. I like to track this royalty rate.
Those stats look like this, and as you can see, there is a bit of fluctuation in the rate, but the average of the rates that I've recorded is around 54 cents per minute of class viewed. The good news is it doesn't appear to be vastly different from when I first started recording these numbers.
Now, some of these fluctuations can be contributed largely to 2 factors. The first of which is the number of active subscriptions currently being used on SKILLSHARE, and that will fund the royalty pool given to instructors. And the second factor is how much as a proportion of the total minutes viewed on SKILLSHARE has your class generated.
These remaining slices represent 65% of my total earnings this year.
And these are my earnings with Udemy. 65% of my earnings this year. It wins every year.
Total earnings for the year were $2,192, and by month it looked like this. This is something I find very encouraging, as the royalties month to month are stable and average $183 per month.
These earnings this year from Udemy came from 609 students, which means that the average royalty per enrollment on Udemy in 2023 was $3.6 for me.
Always a slightly disappointing statistic when a lot of sale prices on Udemy are at like $15.
But without the platform, I wouldn't have anything, so I really shouldn't complain too much.
These Udemy courses are something I created back in 2017, and they're still paying out.
To me, they've demonstrated healthy longevity, particularly because they're not courses that would interest a vast audience. This is great news for anyone wishing to make a class or a course, because even small topics can have success.
Now I have good news for you and bad news for me.
And we need to talk about Terry's minty brother here. This guy is to do with investing in shares. Now, the good news is that there's a bit more information on growing wealth, but the bad news is I've got to eat all of this. Now, I don't count this as a passive income, but I do see it as a passive way in which you can grow wealth. The reason I'm showing you a full mint orange is that the gains that I've made through investing in shares this year is roughly equivalent to the amount I've earned through passive income this year. I'm not a financial advisor, so you really shouldn't listen to anything that I say on this matter, but you should come to your own conclusion. And I'm certainly not in a position where I'm adequately equipped to give you any information on how to trade stocks and shares. I just think that it's something that you should have a look into, as it's something that I've had some success on, knowing really very little about it. What I am doing at the moment is trialing a daily investment strategy, which would be investing £5 or $5 into the stock market on a couple of key index funds every day of the year to see how well that performs. And currently I'm up around 6% overall for both of those items. It could be that you don't buy a coffee every day of the year or something, and instead you invest it into the stock market. I may make a video about that in the future to see how well it performs, but from the viewpoint of a dumb investor and just a key index fund. And there is one last passive income stream which I've not yet spoken about, and that's with YouTube.
Like last year, it's earned a total of $0, as the channel isn't monetized yet. Still a little way to go on the subscriber count and a fair amount to go on watch time.
Perhaps next year there will be a segment or two on earning potential with YouTube. I hope your year was amazing for passive income, and I hope it does even better next year. But if you haven't yet started, then why not check out some of these videos for some easy ways in which to do so.